Good evening, great souls. And today our beloved master, Paramahansa Yogananda, is going to take us on a spiritual adventure back to the land of ancient India, where we'll have the honor to meet the master behind this week's teachings, Sri Krishna. And we invite everybody to participate in this quest by joining us in the devotional chanting for Krishna. And about halfway through, we'll have a quick intermission, about 5 minutes, to change the scene. Enjoy.
God bless you all. It is wonderful to be with you this evening. Please stand and I'll give you a short prayer. Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, beloved God, Great Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashai, Shri Yukteswarji, Guru Preceptor, I bow to thee. Beloved God, infuse our minds, infuse our hearts with thy infinite love. Beloved God, ignite our darkness with thy light. May we feel your presence, ever nearer and dearer to us. Especially this evening, as we offer our heart's love, gently at thy feet. Om peace. Amen. Please be seated. Oh, how wonderful it is to be here at Mount Washington. I wonder where my boys are. I shall call to them. My boys, it's so wonderful to see you. Please come, sit with me.
Master, you've told us so many stories about Krishna. Will you take us in the past to see him?
Brother, your sincerity is admirable, but don't you know Krishna lived 3,000 years ago? How is such a thing possible?
That is true. That is true.
But Master, I read in your poem Samadhi, past, present, future, no more for me. Surely you can ferry us back in time to satisfy our heart's longing.
That is true too. You see, in God, all there is the eternal now. Let me pray to our Divine Mother to ask her blessing to attune to her will. Very well. My boy's Divine Mother has granted us her blessing to go and see Krishna. Let your wish, Divine Mother, always be my wish.
Hooray!
Now remember, we must prepare our hearts. Make them a hermitage of God's love. We must focus the mind as we prepare for this ancient pilgrimage to India. And also very, very important, we must bring gifts to Krishna. And very, very important, we must remember Krishna loves the cheese.
I'll bring him the finest cheese in all of California.
Very well. Let us sit upright, everyone, with a straight spine. And before we embark on this ancient journey, I'd like to read from my Whispers from Eternity. Eternally through it, I will speak to you. I wrote this as an invocation to Krishna. So let us chant to Krishna. Let us all chant to Krishna to awaken that presence within our hearts. And I'd like to read from my Whispers as I wrote. Come to me as Krishna, the divine cowherd. O Krishna, Lord of Hindustan, I sorrowed by the lonely Jamuna river, where thy flute notes thrilled the air and led lost calves to their divine home. O lotus of love, musing on the sad absence of thy delusion-dispelling eyes, I saw thine invisible spirit take form, frozen by my devotion's frost. Thy divine body of sky-blue light walked with feet of eternity on the banks of my mind, planting there the lasting footsteps of divine realization. I am one of those lost calves which followed thy flower footsteps on the shoals of time. Listening to the melody of thy flute of wisdom, I now follow the middle path of calm activity, by which thou hast led me through the portals of their dark past into the eternal light. Since all souls belong to thy fold, whether we move forward, are sidetracked, or are hemmed in, unmoving, in the fogs of disbelief, O divine Krishna, lead us back to thy enfolding shed of everlasting freedom. O Krishna, thou reignest supreme on the heart throne of all those who know thy love. So closing your eyes, let us all chant to Krishna. And as we close our eyes, we will be transported to India. Let us sing this beloved chant, Hare Krishna. Let us all sing to Krishna. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Concentrating at the point between the eyebrows. Feel your consciousness expanding as you relax the body and feel the growing presence of Krishna as we invite Krishna into our consciousness. Feel yourself expanding into samadhi. Behold, ancient India. Beloved India, thy blessed soil where hundreds of the great saints who loved God bless this land. Oh, and that sweet sound of the river Jamuna, how sweet it is. And Krishna's just on the other side of the river, playing out his divine drama.
The river Jamuna is majestic. My heart is thrilled with the thought of seeing Krishna.
Krishna is just on the other side of the river.
But Master, River Jamuna is in flood. See how high she runs. How can we hope to reach him?
My boy, why doubt? He who has brought us to the river Jamuna will surely help us cross her, isn't it?
May I help you, gentlemen? I'm trying to meditate here.
Great Saint Vyasa, the great saint, the writer of the Bhagavad Gita, and one of the greatest disciples of Krishna.
Sage Vyasa, we are honored to meet you. Great Vyasa, it is our heart's desire to see Krishna. Can you help us cross the river safely?
Did you bring a present for Krishna?
Revered sir, in our excitement, we brought some cheese, but for Krishna.
You did not bring any cheese for poor baby Vyasa?
No, in our excitement for meeting Krishna, we forgot to bring you some too. Alas, we only have enough for him.
I would dearly love to help you cross the Jamuna River, but it's always Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Nobody ever thinks of poor baby Vyasa. All these years, decades even, I've been slaving away on the Mahabharata, the longest epic ever written. And what credit do I get? I don't even get a piece of cheese. So much of my energy has gone into writing that I lack the strength to help you across unless I can get some more nourishment, like a piece of cheese, perhaps.
Brothers, Guruji, isn't Vyasa a disciple of Krishna? How can a disciple behave like this? He wants the cheese that's intended for his guru.
Sir, we brought this cheese as an offering to Krishna. Please, can you help us cross the river safely?
Alas, without nourishment, I cannot help you. If only I had some cheese, I would be glad to help you cross the river. To strengthen me.
Seems like we have no choice. We must concede to his wishes.
Wow, the finest grass-fed organic cheese from all of California. Oh, this is amazing. Krishna will love this cheese. I can sense his pleasure ever more fully. You will surely love this cheese.
Sir, Sage Vyasa, sir, Krishna will only be able to enjoy it if you leave some for him.
Oh, okay. There you go, young sir.
He's eaten 3/4 of it.
Now, thank you for the wonderful cheese. Now, I may help you cross the river. Follow me to the banks of the Jamuna River.
Come on, boys.
Oh, Jamuna River, if I have not eaten anything, divide up and part.
How is this possible? He's eaten 3/4 of the cheese, and yet he says, if I've not eaten anything, divide up and part. And the river obeys him.
There, young sirs, your pathway is open. You may continue sacred pilgrimage to meet the great Lord Krishna. Go out with joy.
Come on, boys, let us cross the river. Be careful not to slip. Oh, as I see now in the distance, that boatman, that reminds me of a story I used to tell all the time about a philosopher and a boatman.
Yes, in fact, sir, Brother Walter has put it to song.
Well, let us sing then.
The way to perfection is narrow and steep. The bypaths are many, the pitfalls are deep. By theory alone, many think to arise. Here's one who could teach them if he were alive. A philosopher stepped into a boat, the river to cross would he. So learned was he thought no man could be half so clever as he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he.
The boatman he said, good man, pray tell, of the German philosophers three. Schopenhauer, Hegel und Goethe Kant, you deem the wisest to be.
Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Please excuse me, sir,
The boatman said,
I've not read your philosophers three. All day I'm obliged to ply these oars to support my family and me. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he.
in that case, my good man, your wretched life is as good as a quarter lost. Why, without the writing of those three men, not a shelf of books would I trust.
Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he.
Now then tell me, good man,
The scholar said,
have you studied the Frenchman Descartes?
I've told you before,
The other cried,
I'm unschooled, hard work is my art. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he.
hard work, what a waste, sad foolish man, half your life has been thrown away. Yet still a fragment might be redeemed, memorize one theory a day.
Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Of a sudden a storm with raging might did lash that river to foam. Like a drifting pedal it tossed their boat till it seemed they never get home. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he.
Then the boatman cried,
My learned sir, our chances are growing dim. 2 questions you've put me so far this trip. Now I'll ask you one. Can you swim? Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he.
I can't swim a stroke.
The philosopher cried as he clung in despair to an oar. Then the whole of your life is lost, my friend. You'll not need those books anymore. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. Singing wise, oh, with his book, so such a mighty scholar was he. The boatman regrets to say his fare, never reached the opposite bank. All that ponderous learning inside his head gave him weight, you see, and he sang. Singing wise-o with his book-so, such a weighty scholar was he. Singing wise-o with his book-so, such a weighty scholar was he. La 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 la.
Very good, boys. I love philosophy in song. Come, let us prepare for this sacred pilgrimage. We still have a bit to go. Let us cross further the river. Just on that bankside there lies Krishna. And along the way we will dress, as we will soon be in Krishna's presence. And we will offer gifts, and we will offer ourselves. Let us come, boys. Behold, Lord Krishna. It is him. It is him.
Krishna seems to be asleep.
Let us all awaken his presence. Let us chant, and we will awaken the living presence of Krishna. Boys, let us sit. Feel the God awakening in the heart. We will chant this chant that I feel is beloved. This chant used for liberation. We will chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And I invite all of you to join. Every soul is needed this evening to awaken Krishna. Let us chant, opening our hearts, yearning for that living presence of Krishna. Behold, Krishna awaken. Gurudev.
Oh my Arjuna, I am so thrilled to see you. It was only today I was thinking that I haven't seen you for a long time and you felt my summons. And you came, traversing time and space. My dearest friend, give me a hug.
Why does Krishna refer to Master as Arjuna?
Don't you remember? Master said he was Arjuna in a past life, and that Babaji was Krishna.
Oh, beloved Krishna, Lord Krishna, I have brought all of my disciples who have been yearning to feel thy presence, brothers. Come.
I am so delighted to see, dear ones, all of you who have come. Welcome to my abode.
Please, sir, accept this cheese as an offering of our love.
I love Californian cheese. But the thing is, I have to keep this for some other day. I have had too much Californian cheese today.
I don't understand, sir. Has someone else from California visited you today?
Oh, it's not so easy for somebody from California to visit me. You are the first Californians to visit me, of course. But you see that fellow on the other side of the river, that Vyasa, he knows how to be in tune with me. He has perfected his attunement with me to such a degree that no matter what he is doing, he feels he is only my instrument and I am the sole doer. So when he was eating that cheese, the beautiful, delicious Californian cheese from organic grass-fed cows, he was offering it to me. And so I've had more than enough cheese for today.
That I understand now. That is why the river obeyed him.
That's right. And that's why I say in the Bhagavad Gita, he finds peace who knows me alone to be the ultimate enjoyer of all austerities and the dearest friend of all.
Very beautiful, Krishna. Our hearts are so bursting with joy at thy sight. Can we offer a gift, or may we chant for you to celebrate the joy that we feel in our hearts?
Nothing enthralls me in the three worlds compared to hearing devotees chant.
Let us all sit, boys. Come, let us sit. Lord Krishna, we'd like to chant a song of great celebration, a chant that I wrote when thinking of thee and feeling you in my heart always. We'd like to chant this chant that I wrote, Spirit and Nature. Let us all celebrate now that living presence of Krishna with joy in our hearts. If you feel to clap, clap for God.
That was intoxicating. I am very pleased with your devotion. Ask of me any blessing and I will give.
Oh, beloved Krishna, how I remember when I was Arjuna. You used to tell us many stories, how they're still very near to my heart. Can you bless my disciples who have come with one of your stories?
I most certainly will. It's one of my greatest pleasures to share beautiful stories with all my devotees. And this story, because you all are disciples of my Arjuna, will involve Arjuna, will involve the Pandavas, will involve the Kauravas, and will involve a rishi. And finally, we will take a deep moral back home with us. So the stage is this. You all know, you must have read the interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita that Arjuna Yogananda has written. There were the Pandava brothers, 5 brothers, including my Arjuna, who and their wife Draupadi, and their cousins were the Kauravas, who were led by the evil Duryodhana, who had 100 brothers, believe it or not. And he was always wanting to destroy the Pandavas. And the Pandavas were my greatest disciples, very righteous, and I was always on their side, trying to help them. So this Duryodhana, as you all might know, invited the Pandavas to a game of dice, with the condition that whoever loses the game will have to forsake his kingdom and be banished to the forest to live a simple, hermetic, ascetic life for 12 long years. And unknown to the Pandavas, Duryodhana had loaded the dice so that his victory was assured. Sure enough, he won, and the Pandavas had to forsake their kingdom and had to go into a little hut in the forest, there to live 12 long years of hard life. But Duryodhana wasn't satisfied with that. The evil people are not satisfied no matter how much evil they can do. And so he was always looking for ever new avenues to hurt the Pandavas more, to steal more from them. And so he had his opportunity when a great rishi called Durvasa visited him. Now these rishis are fundamental characters in many Indian mythological stories. So let me share with you a little bit about the rishis. The rishis are deep meditators. They meditate very deeply, and therefore they have a lot of yogic power. If they are pleased by devotees, they can give great blessings. But if you displease them, and displease them enough, they can also curse you. Half of Indian mythological stories center around a rishi either getting happy or unhappy and blessing or cursing somebody. And the kingpin of all the rishis was this Durvasa, because he was known to be the most hot-tempered among all the rishis. He could bless you in the blink of an eye, but in the second blink of an eye, he could curse you if you did not please him. And that's why he was given this name, Durvasa, which means the angry one. See, rishis can also have anger. So this rishi Durvasa, his blessings and curses color the Mahabharata, they color the Ramayana and many other scriptures from India. This rishi came to Duryodhana's palace. And Duryodhana didn't respect rishis. No evil person respects rishis, but he hatched a cunning plan. And his plan was this. He and his 99 brothers served this rishi and his retinue of disciples, about 50 disciples, day and night, personally serving them food, ministering to their needs, taking care of them in every way. Finally, on the morning of their departure, Durvasa called Duryodhana. And he said, "My son, I am very pleased with your devotion. I am very surprised also. Anybody who reads the Bhagavad Gita knows you as a scoundrel. But here you have been serving us. What boon can I give you? What blessing do you ask?" And Duryodhana was waiting for exactly this moment. He had his answer ready. He said, "Well, great sir," he feigned humility. "Well, great sir, what more blessing can there be than that I got to serve you? I don't want any blessing. But, my brothers, the Pandavas, are right there in the forest. If you could also visit them with all your disciples, they could also get the blessing of having served you. If you go now, I'm sure they will be happy to welcome you for lunch. And then they will also get the opportunity of ministering to you. In the Indian tradition, it's a blessing to be able to feed saints. And so Durvasha was astounded. He said, anybody who reads the Bhagavad Gita thinks of you as a scoundrel. But you are always wanting to serve the rishis. Instead of hating the Pandavas, you have this great love. That Vyasa must have gotten his facts wrong. But since you ask, I will go right away and I will visit the Pandavas so that they too can have the blessing of feeding me and my disciples. And he went away. And Duryodhana was very, very happy. Why was he happy? Well, we need to know the actual situation, on the ground situation in the Pandava hut. Now the Pandavas were royal princes. Even though they had forsaken their kingdom, everybody, many kings respected them. And they would come almost every day, many people, dignitaries, to visit the 5 Pandavas, to confer with them, get their advice in their little hut. Now a little hut is ill-suited to feed so many dignitaries. And so the Pandava's wife Draupadi, she had been given a magical pot. And what was the magical characteristic of this pot which the gods had given her? It would keep producing food as long as the guests wanted food and as long as anybody needed food. And this is not novel to you. You know, in my incarnation as Babaji, I fed Lahiri Mahasaya with a similar pot. Right after his Kriya, he wanted delicious Indian food and luchis and curries. Well, I couldn't go to there was no town nearby, so I had this pot. And I used it to feed him to his heart's content. Well, Draupadi had a similar pot. But there was a caveat. The gods had said, because Draupadi was the model hostess, she would always eat last. She would make sure everybody was fed, and then she would have her own food. And this pot was so enchanted that as soon as Draupadi had her food, it would stop producing food for the rest of the day. So after her lunch, that was it. You know, the Pandavas are ascetics. They couldn't eat 3 meals a day, only 1 meal, lunch. As much as you want, all you can eat. But after that, just like you might have in your ashram, all you can eat buffets. So after that, no food for the rest of the day. So every morning, Draupadi would wait until all the guests were taken care of. And then at the very end, she would eat. And then that was it. Now, you know, any kitchen has lunch timings. You must have a kitchen in your ashram, and the lunch timings might be 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Well, the Pandava lunch timing was also 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., something like that. And Duryodhana had calculated by the time Rishi Durvasa reaches the Pandavas, it will be at least 2 p.m. Draupadi would have already eaten. There would be no food left for anybody. And Durvasa would come expecting the greatest hospitality and respect. And when the Pandavas would say, we can't feed you, he's already half angry, that's his name. He would get 100% angry. And then he would curse the Pandavas. And so that was Duryodhana's scheme all the while, to get this great rishi who had great power to curse the Pandavas. This is what happened. Durvasa came to the Pandavas' kutir. The Pandavas had just had a wonderful lunch from this pot. Draupadi had eaten, they were relaxing, and they suddenly saw this group of rishis, Durvasa at the front, and 49 other disciples or 50 other disciples, all coming towards them. And of course, they revered Durvasa. So they all got up from their cots where they were resting, and they ran to the rishi, they bowed to him and said, "Sir, how come you are here? What a great blessing to see you." And the rishi said, "I wasn't going to come. This wasn't part of my plan. It wasn't on my schedule. But I was the guest of Duryodhana, and you have misunderstood him completely. He is extremely devoted to you. He said, "Sir, you have blessed me with the blessing to feed you and serve you. You must do the same and go to the Pandavas and so that they can serve you, and you must do it right away." So I came right from Duryodhana's palace to your hut. And he said, if you go to the Pandavas, they'll be sure to serve you a delicious lunch. So get the lunch ready. We are going to go to the river nearby for our rituals and for saying the mantras, taking a dip. And by the time we come, we can all have this delicious lunch. And so saying, Durvasa and his retinue of the disciples walked off to the river. The Pandavas knew exactly what Duryodhana's plan was. Arjuna was livid. He said, this was Duryodhana's doing. He knew that Durvasa would come after the pot had run empty. And he knew when we would not be able to feed the Rishi. And when the Rishi is not fed, he gets fed up. And then he curses us. He wants us cursed. What do we do now? Everybody was worried because, Durvasa wasn't the guy who gave a little curse. His curses were full dosages. Yeah. For example, the way the Pandavas were born was because Durvasa blessed their mother. He said, I know you won't be able to have children the normal way. So I bless you that you can invoke the gods who can give you children. That's how the Pandavas were born, same Rishi. But if his blessings are huge, his curses can be devastating. So Draupadi was also very worried. She looked at the pot. There's 1 grain of rice left in this pot. It's not going to produce anything else today. Our goose is cooked. What are we to do? And then she said, only if Krishna was here, he would know how to help us. He would know how to take care of us. But he's so far away in Dwarka, which is a city, thousands of miles or thousands of kilometers away. How is he going to come and help us? And with that, they started thinking very longingly of Krishna, the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi. And with their hearts, devotion, they tried to call on Krishna's presence.
I've heard your flute high on a cloud. Your call I can't resist. Oh, let me come and play with you. We'll scatter music with the dew and sound the morning mist. I've heard you piping on a hill, all else I've set aside. Oh, let us dance the mountain peaks. We'll skip with breezes on the creeks and soar the valleys wide. Your flute has called me to the fields. Now I've no place to live. Don't send me back rejected friend. Whatever I call mine must end. All that I am I give. I hear your flute in every tree, in every flower and stream, and sweetest melody of all, a song that heaven's joy recalls. Here in my heart you see.
So you all know there is a secret law. It's not secret to any of you because you have heard of it from your guru. Whenever a devotee longingly thinks of me, I am forced to come to his aid. And that's why I say in the Bhagavad Gita, he who watches me always, I watch him always. He never loses sight of me, nor do I lose sight of him. This is one of my disciple Yogananda's favorite quotes. And sure enough, as the Pandavas longingly thought of me, I was in Dwarka taking care of many pressing errands. I have a whole universe to run. But suddenly I found myself transported by their magnetic call and appearing outside their little hut. I had no control over this process because that is the law. As soon as the devotee calls, I am bound by that devotion and I am forced to appear. And so I entered the little hut and the Pandavas were flabbergasted to see me. You remember how surprised you were? They were very, very surprised. And they said, Lord Krishna, how come you are here? And I said, oh, I just happened to be nearby. And I said, oh, the Pandavas stay here, let me pay them a visit. And so I am here. And then Arjuna said, thank God you have come. I mean, you are God, but still thank God you have come. It's a phrase. Thank God you have come. Thank you, you have come. But you know, we have this whole issue. We have a big problem. That Rishi Durvasa, and I said, wait. I have come after a long time. I have just had this long journey coming to you all. Don't start pecking me with your problems. I'm hungry. First, feed me something. Draupadi, I want you to make the best lunch you can. I love the lunches you make. Now, I knew, of course, that they had no food. But this is the divine romance. You have heard of this often from reading my disciple's book, Autobiography of a Yogi. The divine engages in a romance with his devotee. And so I said, first you have to feed me. And later you can see where Vyasa tuned in to me. First you have to feed me. And then I can take care of your problem. Of course, the Pandavas and Draupadi's face grew longer and longer. They were already unhappy that they couldn't feed a great rishi. Now here's their guru asking for something to eat. And they were about to have to say no to their own guru. And Draupadi said, Lord, I would love to feed you. But unfortunately, we have nothing. We have had our meal, I have had my meal, and the pot has run empty. And I said, are you sure it's empty? Why don't you look inside again? And she knew it was empty, but she looked in and said, it is empty unless you are thinking about this one grain of rice which is in there. How can I offer that to you? And I said, why not? Don't I say in the Gita, whatever the devotee offers with complete devotion, I accept. And I find it fulfilling. And I find it satisfying. So if you offer me even that one grain, you who have this perfect discipleship to me, I am bound to be satisfied. And so Draupadi, very diffidently, she took out that little grain of rice and she offered it to Krishna with all the devotion of her heart. And I had that rice, and lo, behold, it's not the rice that feeds me, but it's the devotion which is behind that offering. And the Pandavas, perfect disciples as they were, I suddenly found my heart completely filled by their discipleship. And I said, you have satisfied me. I feel completely nourished and strengthened by what you offer. I feel completely full. Now I am the sustainer of the entire universe. The whole universe rests on my consciousness. It's my consciousness that permeates the limbs of creation. When I was satisfied, the Pandavas had satisfied all their responsibilities towards the entire creation. And sure enough, as I said I was satisfied, in that little river, the lake, the rishis and their disciples, they were taking a bath. Suddenly they were looking forward to this great meal with the Pandavas. Suddenly they found their tummies full. They found they were hardly able to stand, let alone swim. And one disciple said, Rishi Durvasa, suddenly I feel like I've had the best meal in my lifetime. And Durvasa said, don't say that. I suddenly feel completely filled too. But the Pandavas will have made this huge, elaborate feast for us. We have to have that. And then the other disciple said, no way. If we can't even think of having one single morsel of food, we are that filled. We cannot go to the Pandavas and have more food under any circumstance. And Rishi Durvasa was very worried. He said, but the Pandavas have prepared this feast for us with such great love. If we go there and don't eat their feast, their offering, they will be very, very insulted. And it will be their turn to get angry. And the Pandavas are righteous people too. They too can curse as well as bless. So let's do this. Let's run away. And let's run away quickly. One of the Pandavas might come and want to usher us to their kutir. And so the rishis somehow with their completely filled bellies ran out of the lake and just ran in the other direction. And in this way, the Pandavas were saved from being cursed by the rishi. What is the moral of this story? I was the Pandavas' guru. When the guru says to the disciple, I am satisfied with your devotion, then all lesser duties to the universe are completely satisfied, and the devotee, the disciple, becomes completely free. That's why, remember, your highest goal is to perfect your attunement to your own guru. The day your guru says, you have pleased me, I am satisfied, you will have satisfied all the lesser duties that you think keep you from satisfying your ultimate goal. This is why I say in the Bhagavad Gita, something that you all heard this week already. In the last chapter I say, again hear now my supreme word, the most secret and sacred of all, Because you are dearly beloved by me, I offer it now for your highest benefit. Absorb yourself in me. Be wholly devoted to me. Worship and bow to me alone. So shall you undoubtedly reach me. This I promise you faithfully, for you are dear to me. Forsaking all other dharmas, remember me alone. I will free you from all sin, even from that of not fulfilling other lesser duties. So remember this, and remember that I told you when you go back home. Remember to tell all the disciples that the supreme goal of the disciple is to get the Guru to say, "You have satisfied me. I am pleased with your devotion." And when he says that, you will be free. And he who is in tune with his own Guru is in tune with me also. You all came to me because of your attunement to your Guru. Remember to tell everybody, all your brother disciples, whoever will be in tune with their own Guru will be in tune with me. And through the Guru's grace will be able to see me, will be able to meet me. I will be eagerly waiting. And from my own lips, I will tell them all an enthralling story.
Beloved Krishna, thank you very much for that beautiful story. We will all surely, as we return back to America, we will carry those words and blessings. Thank you, Krishna. With hearing Krishna's story, it reminds me here in India, the time when I came back in 1935 to see my beloved Guru, Swami Yukteswar. I write in my autobiography of a yogi the account of this meeting with my Guru after years of missing him. I'd like to read from my autobiography. It was a very hot day, and we were approaching the ashram of Guruji. And we had just arrived shortly after with a bouquet of flowers to offer to Guruji. And I will read this account. As I walked into Guruji's ashram, carrying all these flowers, I was overfilled with joy. And as I entered, Sri Yukteswar said to me, the first words of my Guru, "What is your question?" Master looked around the room as though he were seeking escape. And I said, "Guruji, I came to you as a high school youth. Now I am a grown man, even with a gray hair or two. Though you have showered me with a silent affection from the first hour to this, do you realize that only once on the day of meeting have you ever said, 'I love you'?" I looked at him pleadingly. Master lowered his gaze. "Yogananda, must I bring out into the cold realms of speech the warm sentiments best guarded by the wordless heart?" And I said, "Guruji, I know you love me, but my mortal ears ache to hear you say so." And my Guru said, "Be it as you wish. During my married life, I often yearned for a son to train in the yogic path. But when you came into my life, I was content. In you, I have found my son." 2 clear teardrops stood in Sri Yukteswar's eyes. And he said, "Yogananda, I will love you always." And I felt his answer was my passport to heaven. And dear friends, I am all very pleased with all of you. I remember one day here, I was setting up a little altar in the grass, and a little dew formed on one of the leaves. And I wrote this poem. On grassy altar small, there I have my nook, where even a little dewdrop that formed on this grass, I experienced that presence of God. A humble magnet call, a whisper by the brook. By grassy altar small, there I have my nook. So you see, friends, everywhere you go, live God. Seek God everywhere. And friends, always remember that God, Christ, and the Masters are always with you. Behind your every thought, your every feeling, behind your every prayer, He is with you. Seek Him. And dear ones, I am so very pleased to see all of you carrying on this work with spreading the teachings of self-realization to all truth-seeking souls. And please remember that those who think me to be the nearest of the near, the dearest of the dear, I will be with you. You have pleased me very much. As I told one of my disciples before I left the body, as my disciple asked, Guruji, what are we to do when you leave the body? And I answered, and I tell you all this evening, remember that only love can take my place. So let us celebrate that blessing of discipleship, the blessing of the love that you feel in your hearts. As when you were born, I was born in your heart as God's love. So let us celebrate that love in our hearts of our discipleship. And let us chant together this beautiful chant that always makes me think of my Guru. Let's sing together, O Master. So we invite you all to please sing with us. You may all stand, please. Boys, let's come. And Krishna, thank you for singing with us.
Joy fill our days. Oh, Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. Guide all our hopes and all our dreams, past every glow that only sees, into the light, the inner sun. Truth that we're all one. Help us to find in every hour, in every thought, in every flower, a joy that spans eternity, the truth that makes us ever free. May thy joy fill our days. Oh, Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. The time has come for us to see that there's but one reality upon the earth and high above, the truth that all was made from love. A love that calls to us to fly above the hills, above the sky, above the storms, above the pain, a land where peace and laughter reign. Oh, Master, may thy joy fill our days. Oh,
God bless you all. It is nice to be back at Mount Washington with all of you with us. It was a long trip, yes. And surely it was also very hot in India, wasn't it, boys? It feels a bit hot now. My boys, I would like to give you each $1 to get some ice cream. It's hot. Here, get an ice cream. Go. We also like to invite Max and Christian and Guru Prem. Please come. I'd like to buy you an ice cream. Krishna, did I give you $1?
I need $2.
That's 2 ice creams.
I am the sovereign lord of all, so I need $2.
Well, thank you all for coming. And I would like to also thank Maggie for her help with all the costumes. And also for Christian on sound. Thank you, Christian. And Naima's help with the wigs, which is very helpful. Shri Paramahansa Yogananda Ji Jai! Shri Paramahansa Yogananda Ki Jai! Thank you all and have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow at Sunday service.